Welcome to DaAi Headlines. I'm Wendy Chen. Thank you for joining us. Coming up in today's show, city volunteers in the United States are tending to victims of the recent Ponderosa fire in Northern California. We start a new series of feature reports to learn how growing non-native plants and vegetables in Taiwan is a problem for our ecological system. And a group of olfactory analysts in New Taipei City are ensuring our environment remains clean and refreshing. In the United States on August 18th, a fire caused by lightning spread through Tehama and Shasta County of Northern California. The Ponderosa fire destroyed 27,622 acres of land. In total, 52 residential homes, 81 outbuildings, and 7 people were injured. Local government set up a disaster relief center, and city volunteers from Northern California visited the disaster area on September 2nd to show support and provide needed assistance.
The Ponderosa fire, now contained, scorched 27,662 acres of land across Tehama and Shasta County in Northern California of the United States. Although they suffered home damage, these residents still maintain a cheerful disposition and even said they wanted to help others who might be worse off.
You're very kind, you grew hard, so why the angel protect yours?
Started by lightning on August 18th, the Ponderosa fire torched a total of 52 homes and 81 outbuildings, but only 12 households arrived at the local assistance center to receive assistance from Tzu Chi. Since most of these homes are covered by fire insurance, what they need is not financial support, but emotional support. The local media sing praises of the Tzu Chi volunteers' work.
I think that's what the United Nations was founded for, and sometimes it's been adrift. But I think this is a wonderful example of what can happen when people do come together.
Tzu Chi volunteers also took the time to visit the local fire station, where the fire captain kindly explained their firefighting gear.
That's what we wear when we go in.
So heavy.
Yeah, but that's for house fires.
Oh.
Just having the equipment to fight fire isn't enough. Having a calling to fight fires is most important. For Matt Wallen, he was once on duty for 35 days straight fighting fires.
Yeah, it probably takes a special kind of person. It's kind of military in a way. You know, there's an expected, and there's an expected level of behavior. Couldn't do anything about it.
These firefighters share the same giving spirit as Tzu Chi volunteers, tirelessly working for others and never asking for anything in return.
Moving to Australia, severe flooding devastated several communities in Queensland last year, including the city of Ipswich. Since then, Tzu Chi volunteers have carried out relief work to help flood victims recover. On September 2nd, with assistance from local volunteers and counsellors, Tzu Chi held a large-scale distribution in a shopping mall for care recipients. Upon reading the news of the distribution in the newspaper, many care recipients went to pick up their aid supplies, while even more people who had received help in the past arrived with their filled bamboo coin banks.
Tzu Chi volunteers in Gold Coast set off in the morning for a relief distribution in Ipswich. The owner of the shopping mall, Huang Shuru, is also on the scene to help. 76-year-old Mrs. Xiao, who was diagnosed with colon cancer, closely supervises the distribution work on site. Many volunteers said they have learned much from the senior.
She wants everything well organized. Take the stationery box, for example. She asked us to affix a label that says number 3, since our group is the 3rd group.
She is a perfectionist. She cannot bear doing things carelessly, so we've learned a lot from her. We're really thankful.
It's fine. Everyone is doing a great job. Very nice.
What touched the volunteers was that the local newspaper announced the distribution in their pages, and many flood victims who received Tzu Chi's help arrived with their filled bamboo bank.
So grateful for the help that we have been received since the flood. I mean, our home is now put back together again. We're back in it.
In the future, I'll be able to make more further donations as it's possible for us to do so, to help other people.
The disaster relief back in 2011 connects Tzu Chi and the city of Ipswich with love. Councillor Cheryl volunteered to coordinate the event, to distribute aid supplies and even clean up after the distribution. She is thankful for Tzu Chi's help.
think the generosity today was overwhelming for some of the people that were here, that they were actually starting to cry because they felt so loved. And
with the volunteers' guidance, recipients get in line to pick up their aid supplies and go home with satisfaction and happiness.
Have you ever questioned where the plants, fruits and vegetables you eat come from? In fact, many of the common vegetables we eat every day did not originate in Taiwan. For example, cabbage, water spinach, tomato, sweet potato and many more were actually all imported from other countries. These plants not native to Taiwan are called non-native plants, and today we start a new series of feature reports to learn how these plants may cause problems in Taiwan's ecological system. Here's more.
Look, this is playtide. It is a kind of ornament plant that is not native plant in Taiwan. This is Babylon willow. It is commonly seen around ponds, and it is also considered as an invasive alien plant. This is another non-native plant, the big leaf mahogany. It is commonly used for afforestation.
Many of the plants and flowers in the park, along the streets, and in our garden are non-native plants.
There are a lot of vegetables we eat that are non-native plants, such as corn, wheat, cabbage, water spinach, and tomato.
Regardless, it is ornamental plants or food we eat. Since the Dutch colonized Taiwan in the 16th century, many plants were purposely imported to Taiwan. We call these plants non-native plants.
Non-native plant means that the plant did not originate in this area, but was imported or carried over and planted by locals. These are all called non-native plants.
The non-native plants are mostly imported to a country accidentally or intentionally. These plants can be categorized either as naturalized plants that will reproduce themselves, will not affect the ecological balance of the new home, or invasive alien plants that will also reproduce but will cause problems.
According to our research, there are about 400 plants that can be considered as naturalized plants in Taiwan. There are approximately 40 to 50 that are categorized as invasive alien plants. These alien plants will cause economic losses and can threaten our way of life.
To make sure seedlings imported from around the world do not contain seedlings that may cause problems in Taiwan's ecological system, researchers at the Taiwan Agriculture, Chemical and Toxic Substance Research Institute are the first line of prevention.
This process is called weed quarantine, so the main goal is to decrease the chance of having too many non-native seedlings coming into Taiwan.
Our job is to estimate the impact of these weeds. We want to see if there are common weeds or if they will cause any problems in Taiwan's ecological system. If they are okay, then we will let them into the country.
Some of the imported seedlings may cause problems in Taiwan's ecological system, resulting in crop losses. Therefore, the researchers tried their best to compare the seedlings to those on their research database.
Over here, we use different drugs on the plants, so we can see how well the drug can control their growth.
Since these invasive alien plants may cause problems to Taiwan's ecological system, researchers are hoping to find ways to prevent the importing of more alien plants. However, it is something not only the government should worry about, but a problem that everyone should be aware of.
In our final report on the growing body of evidence that global warming has already begun to have an effect on many species, we take a look at one of nature's many decomposers. Its name is the carrion beetle, and along with the better-known maggot, the beetle and its young will be feeding on rotting animal carcasses, thus helping nature clean up. Researchers are currently undertaking experiments to discover just how increases in temperature will affect the beetle and its natural competitors. Although seemingly unconnected to our daily lives, the results can show how global warming will perhaps affect humans' place in the ecosystem and thus encourage more awareness of the dangers and changes that global warming has in store on the horizon.
This team of researchers and reporters set off at night to find nature's nocturnal decomposer, the carrion beetle.
This is our experiment area. The cage is to keep out animals that will want to eat it.
What the researchers hope to investigate is the behavior of the carrion beetle, which feeds on carcasses of dead or decaying animals. But what shows up first is the beetle's competitor.
With the hot summer sun, maggots can quickly decompose a corpse into nothing.
However, in cooler, wetter forest climates, it is the carrion beetle that arrives on the scene before the maggots are large enough to feed.
These two chickens were placed at the same time, but you can see the difference in them, and that is due to temperature differences. In the forest, the temperatures are lower, thus the maggots appear slower. This is a more ideal environment for the carrion beetle.
For small insects, the speed at which they arrive at their food source is very important. For the carrion beetle, they need to get to the carcasses as fast as possible to bury them for their young.
Since the carrion beetle is a nocturnal species, it works at night. This dead mouse was buried by 6 beetles during the night to protect the food source against their daylight competitors. Already, you can see flies starting to surround the mouse, and as temperature increases, the flies will become more numerous and active. Temperature and speed are 2 important factors for survival in the wild. If the beetle can get to a carcass first, it can bury it and then lay its eggs.
After the carrion beetle comes, it will shape the mouse into a sphere. Except for the tail, the mouse will be moved into a sphere-like shape. And from here, the beetle will take care of its young.
We are now 2,800 meters above sea level. This is the upper limit of the carrion beetle that prefers elevations around 2,000 meters. Scientists are here to study if soil is warmed to simulate the effects of global warming, what will be the effects on both the beetle and their competitor, the fly.
We believe that it will affect those species that like lower temperatures the most. As for how much, we are using this experiment with the carrion beetle to find out. From another angle, we believe that the increases in temperature will be most beneficial for what we call the generalists. Those species that are not overly affected by lower or higher temperatures, such as the red-breasted carrion beetle, which can be found at up to 2,400 meters above sea level.
For nature's decomposer, increase in temperatures mean carcasses decompose faster and also influences how fast certain species can arrive on site. The reaction to the environment and food sources will affect reproductive success.
It is cold here, so normally it takes 4 to 6 days for the beetle to come. This is the 3rd day.
In the normal conditions control group, there is no sign of the carrion beetle, just flies. But in the group where temperatures have been raised, on the 3rd day, the carrion beetle's work can already be seen and maggots have already started to breed.
The reason that the beetles have a hard time surviving in higher altitudes is that their reproductive rate is much lower due to the fact that they can't detect the carcasses in time.
Carrion beetle uses a sense of smell to find their food source, as opposed to flies, which use their sight. In high elevations, increases in temperature means the smell from decomposing animals is released faster.
So from this experiment, we can say that global warming will increase the range of the carrion beetle in terms of what altitude they can survive at.
As our planet grows warmer, the habit of different species will move upwards or downwards in altitude.
Global warming will benefit those species that are less picky about their habitats. The more picky they are, the harder time they will have. The higher the altitude, the more fragile the ecosystem. The development of such areas will have a profound influence on the variety of insect life in the area.
Overall, the study tells us that the effects of global warming are far-reaching and often unseen. Although, at present, humans' place in the ecosystem has not changed, the research does send a warning for the future.
More people are becoming environmental conscious, we are also more aware of the pollution created in our surrounding environment, such as air pollution. Unpleasant smells not only influence our quality of living, but can also be detrimental to our planet. This is when a professional analyst comes in to collect samples and assess the air quality. However, the seemingly simple job cannot be done by just anyone. Taking the staff at the Environmental Protection Department in New Taipei City as an example, on the day of the assessment, only those who are in good health without makeup, have not smoked cigarettes or eaten any heavy food are allowed to carry out the analysis. Let's take a look. Under the scorching sun, these auto sampling staff climb onto the heated corrugated iron rooftops and stand next to the chimney to take samples.
When the sampling platform is over 1.5 meters, we are required to put on safety belts, helmet, and shoes, because sometimes the rooftop is quite heated, and if we don't wear special shoes, we can barely stand on the roof.
As the peculiar smell of the environment coming out from this chimney is the best place for these workers to collect samples. Come rain or shine, they face tough and sometimes even dangerous working conditions.
The pollution in that area is not influenced by any other substances. It is very balanced, so that's why we are taking the samples there.
The sampling must arrive at the laboratory for examination within 6 hours.
问你，我想要筛选你作为那个嗅觉判定员，那我有几个问题想要先请问你。你今天有没有感冒比赛？没有。没有啊？你今天有没有情绪不稳定啊，或是精神不济的状况？没有。今天有没有鼻塞？今天没有。哦，有没有感冒？没有，没有感冒的症状。有没有精神不舒服，或是情绪不太稳定？没有。没有。那我看得出你今天没有化妆吗？好。那你中午的用餐有吃一些刺激性或是味道比较重的食物吗？没有。没有哈。那等一下就请你帮忙哦。
Surprisingly, anyone can be an olfactory analyst.
任何人都可以当嗅觉判定员，可是
Anyone can be an olfactory analyst, but under the condition on that day, he's not sick, or does not have a stuffy nose, unstable emotions, or is in low spirits. Also, the meal he had eaten before must not include any stimulating or heavy food.
Yet differentiating scent is easier said than done.
No matter how hard I try, it smells all the same to me, just like air. Let's take a quick look and see if these analysts can tell the difference.
Number 3 and 4 both have weird smell. What does it smell like? For number 3, it smells like sweat.
Number 2 and 4 smell different to me. Number 2 has the sweet smell, more like a floral scent.
Prior to sitting down to analyze the scents, these analysts have to pass the test of distinguishing 5 smells: floral, caramel, sweat, ripe fruit, and manure. Only when they are able to tell the difference will they become the analyst for the day. The sampling orders are put inside a plastic bag, then mixed with another 2, and the staff must distinguish which is the problematic one.
The reason why I didn't squash this flat is because I found the scent in this bag smells. So I am going to compare this to the other ones. Yes, it does have a bad odor to it.
Hong Su-mei, who has been in the industry for 8 years, has come across all kinds of scents in her career.
Once I came across the smell of pig manure, and it was really strong. After smelling that, I could barely eat my lunch. In any food that I ate, I could smell pig manure in it. It was disturbing and I felt quite sick.
Some are unpleasant odors, while others are highly concentrated chemical smells that may be harmful to the human body. Thus, these olfactory analysts stand by their duties to safeguard local residents and the planet. Next, in China's Sichuan, Chengdu is a historical city where the local Marshal Marquis Memorial Temple Museum not only houses the burial grave of the Emperor Liu Bei, but also honors Zhuge Liang, Liu Bei's trusted military advisor. Let's take a look at the history of the three kingdoms.
Where I'm standing is Chengdu's Marshal Marquis Memorial Temple. Let's take a look at this historical site.
The temple was built to pay tribute to Zhuge Liang with his posthumous title Zhongwu Hou, which means loyal and martial marquis. The temple sits facing south in a four-sided closed courtyard where every building has connecting corridors and on the sides are scenic paths.
In 223 AD, when Liu Bei passed away, he was buried here, so they set up a memorial site and a temple to honor him. Then later, the Marshal Marquis Memorial Temple was established in 500 AD and was moved here at a later date.
This unique memorial temple in Sichuan's Chengdu is the eldest Marshal Marquis Memorial Temple out of the other 9 in China. Zhuge Liang is also the most influential character from the Three Kingdoms legend.
Ming Liang Qian Gu. Ming stands for fair and just Liu Bei. Liang is for a loyal subject Zhuge Liang. This is talking about the relationship between Liu Bei and Zhuge Liang and how legendary it is. Ming is written with an eye symbol to emphasize Liu Bei's trust in Zhuge Liang's eyes of wisdom and his ability to decipher right and wrong.
The Marshal Marquis Memorial Temple is part of the museum that includes other memorializing temples for Liu Bei and the Three Kingdoms. However, this statue of Guan Yu, wearing a crown and wearing royal robes, differs from our common perception of him wearing red shoes and holding a guandao sword.
We know Guan Yu was very loyal to Liu Bei, so many emperors wanted their subjects to be as loyal as Guan Yu was to Liu Bei, so they kept bestowing him titles. In the Song dynasty, they bestowed him the title of King of Wu'an. In the Ming dynasty, they bestowed the title of the Great Vanquished King.
In recognizing Filial Piety Day, let's return to Zhuge Liang. Before he can conquer, he was dead, and heroes have wept on their coats ever since. This Tangshi poem, written by poet Du Fu, is about Zhuge Liang's passing. As Zhuge Liang was a talented man, his views and life experiences are what heroes are made of.
We go to Thailand at the end of a program and join Tzu Chi volunteers in Bangkok as they held a tea gathering where over 50 local residents arrived to participate. Volunteers seized the opportunity to promote Tzu Chi's ideals as well as the benefits of vegetarianism. We'll leave you with these images. Thank you for watching DaAi Headlines. Goodbye.